Seriously, God bless Vancouver. God bless the city that I live in, because today I was able to go to a theater to see a movie that has a very limited release. And I was able to go to a theater full of people that wanted to see it also. And it was a very respectful audience. They were quiet the whole time. God bless Vancouver. As I mentioned, Born to be Blue has a very limited release. I was very lucky to catch it tonight. It's playing at like one theater in Vancouver, and like it's playing like 3 days out of the week, and then it's done. Like, what? This is an Ethan Hawke movie. What? But I'm glad that I caught it because I did want to see it, because I did hear a few good things about it, even though no one's really talking about it, which I want to change that. Born to be Blue is a movie about Chet Baker, the legendary jazz musician from the 60s. And it's the story of his comeback from drug addiction into more mainstream again, and as he deals with the issues of drug addiction. It's also a love story. It shows the blooming of a relationship between him and an actress that he works with on set. It stars Ethan Hawke as Chet Baker, and this is a movie that you really should keep on your radar, because I thought it was really good. And I didn't want to do just like a normal review, because this movie needs to be talked about, so I'm going to do 5 reasons why Born to be Blue is something that you should watch. Okay, reason number 1 is the movie has a really legit aesthetic to it, and I was kind of surprised by that, but also kind of just really happy about that, because it's a very independent film. As I said, not even getting that much of a release, but the aesthetic was like up there with big budget movies, better than a lot of big budget movies. The production value of some of these scenes, with the music especially, like the sound mixing is fantastic. The quality of some of the shots that they get is actually really good. There's a lot of really attractive and memorable shots in this movie. The editing is really sleek and really nice, and the camera work is really nice. The whole aesthetic is good. It's much better than a lot of mainstream movies that you see, like legit. And honestly, with some independent movies, you can be like, okay, it's a fun premise. It's a very simple premise with like okay acting, but the production value isn't that great, because it's basically just a camera and 2 people talking. That is a bunch of independent movies, and I'll point out those issues in a lot of independent movies. But this isn't that independent movie, because, as I mentioned, like the sound mixing is legit really good. It has really good sound mixing. Reason number 2. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, but I'm going to give it a shot. Carmen Ejigo. It's a really wonderful performance. It's a really captivating performance. It captures the time, the period, and the truth of her character. And it's really inspiring and awesome, because this is a role, it's a meaty female role, it's a strong female role, where she stands up for what she wants, but she also does have weaknesses. Not only that, but it's a strong female of color role. It's really great that there's a movie like this with such a great role for a female of color, because those are the 2 things that we're missing in Hollywood. We're missing great roles for females and great roles for colored people. So, bang, boom, bada bing, knock it out of the park. The performance just feels very lived in, and very natural, and very grounded and built, you know? It feels like a lot of thought went into it, and then it kind of just evaporated, and she kind of just started living. That's what I'm assuming. It's a really nice performance, and I think you should observe the movie to see what I'm talking about. Reason number 3. Reason number 3 is that there are well done surrealist elements to this film. Surrealist is kind of, I don't know if I would say overused, but I think the wrong way to use surrealist is overused. What I mean by that is like Chris Nolan kind of surrealist, where like it's really confusing for a bit, then he explains it all to you later. Either that or the surrealist that doesn't mean anything. And you're like, what's happening? And there are surrealist elements to this movie where the past is kind of in this glorified and kind of accentuated intercut with the present. And it's really interesting because it's not exactly explained to us why it's in there and why it's shot in black and white and stuff like that. That's not explained. It's good. It's shown. It's not told. But it's also not just there to be confusing, you know? It's there for a reason. It feels grounded. It feels complete. It feels like it deserves to be in the movie. The tone of the surrealist parts are different enough from the normal narrative that it's understood and developed enough to be a surrealist part. But it's also similar enough with the narrative that it doesn't feel completely out of place. It's a really well done surrealist element to the film. Reason number 4. Reason number 4 is Ethan Hawke. This guy's an artist. I look up to him a lot as an artist. He's one of the artists that I really, really aspire to for a bit now. Ever since I learned that he actually co-wrote the Before trilogy and that he's directed movies and he's acted in all these things, and I've watched all these interviews, and he's this really fascinating guy, and he's an incredible actor. He has this really, really great naturalistic quality where it really, really feels like he's saying the lines for the first time 100% of his lines. And every action that he takes in the movie is endowed, it's rehearsed, it's full. Like, the way that he performs normal tasks in the movie are interesting. I could watch this character make a sandwich and it would be interesting. And as I mentioned, he always develops really great chemistry with his co-stars. Need I mention Julie Delpy in the Before trilogy? They have the best chemistry I've ever seen on screen. And him with Carmen Ejogo. Him and her have a really good chemistry too, and it's a very unique and dynamic chemistry that is not always seen on screen. It's kind of just developed, and it feels like it's developed between those two, but also developed in the foundation of the source material. I'm mentioning Ethan Hawke so much because I truly believe that this performance is the first great performance of 2016. It's the first one. Hopefully there's many, but this is the first. And reason number 5. Reason number 5 is because we need to go out there and support these films that are being made on a small budget by these artists that are actually out there to make good films, not just to, like, make money and shit and, like, the business. We need to support these great films that are being made. People think that these years are the terrible years for movie making, but they're not, because all these great independent movies are being made. Just pay attention to them and watch this video and then watch the movie that I'm telling you to watch, because it is good and there's good movies being made. We just need to watch them instead of watching the shitty movies. As much as I enjoy shit talking bad movies, I would much rather talk about movies that are actually fulfilling in this kind of way. It's movies like this that actually deserve discussion. Like, we talk about movies because they impacted us. And I want to talk about movies that impacted us. So let's go out there and watch those movies, because they're being made. It brings me so much joy to see a work of art from a storyteller rather than just fanfare from, like, a moneymaker. It brings me a lot of joy. Like, this is a work of art and it's really awesome. This movie's not even getting near the amount of attention that it should be getting. Like, I saw like 2 tweets about it, like, ever. And I follow a lot of movie people. Whew. Whew. And those are the 5 reasons that you should watch Born to be Blue. Go out of your way to watch it. If it's somewhere near you, go watch it in a theater, because that would be optimal. But if you have to, watch it at home or something like that. Just watch it and be conscious of it, because it's an important thing to watch these independent films, because sometimes there's gold and you're missing it because of the system. I have but very few issues with the movie, and I'll point them out just in the interest of a fair rating. One is the often obvious use of ADR. It's often very, very obvious that that they shot this scene and the actors didn't talk, and then they added some dialogue later that wasn't intended to be in the scene. It's very obvious. Movies get away with it all the time, but this one doesn't really. And the other one is that the movie slightly rushes a bunch of the moments. The thing that I felt is that a lot of the scenes felt like they were cut short, and they were just kind of getting somewhere before they were cut. And there were a lot of moments that I just felt like if it was given more time to breathe and more time to just settle out, that it would have more of an impact, because a lot of the beats were strong, but could have been a lot stronger. What I felt is that it's just not a movie that is eccentric enough to really warrant a style of quick cutting all the time, so I think the movie would have benefited a bit more from about 20% less cuts overall. Those are small issues with the movie though, and what I really mean to say in this video is that this movie is a strong 8 out of 10, which is a good rating from me. And I really hope that it makes my top 10 list at the end of the year. I really will feel quite good about the year of 2016 in movies if it doesn't. But yeah, go out, see this movie, watch it at home, watch the movie. Even if you don't know who Chet Baker is, I didn't know who Chet Baker was. This educated me. And it's cool. It's a good movie. I think I've laid out my points. Cool stuff. Bye.